Welcome to Universal Journey Talk, Part 1 of Ep.3.
I am Kirk with Eric or Allegoris. What's going on, man? Hey.
Yep.
All right. So we're here. I'm feeling good, putting out that positive energy, taking it in. I got all my all my gear on to keep all that positive energy going. How about yourself? All right. Working it. So
Sure, baby.
oh, okay, nice. So we just we're gonna kick back again. We want those who are watching to chill, let all that negative energy get out of the way. It's time for us to get meta and put some positive energy out there, and so that's what we're gonna do. All right. So we said before we were gonna get to everyone's comments and stuff. We're just gonna go over the main ones. So I just wanted to go right to it. But first of all, we'll just talk about what we're talking about here. It's going to be mostly about 5D. We want to get into that a little bit. We want to get into numerology, numbers. We want to get into the realms. Hopefully we'll have enough time to cover all that. If not, it's all good. Anyway, so but just to start off, so I just wanted to start off here with let me see, our first comment that came from Heather Robinson. I actually think it was I don't know, it was a few comments in. But anyway, she wrote a lot, and it was very compelling. I guess she was, she had a lot to say based off of our last episodes. So anyway, she was talking a little bit about, as we can see, about her, being raised religiously. So I just took like a couple notes here, and one of them was, how she talked about how she grew up, and that she, a lot of sin and shame and things like that. So I guess we'll delve into that a little bit more. But then she talked about being, she raised her children Catholic. Also, even though she it didn't sit well with her, which is kind of interesting. So here's when she went into all these different parts here, talking about how the children were not, they started acting different after they started going, to I think it was Catholic school, and, about how they were kind of losing a little bit of their joy. So she talks about, how they had to, a lot of things about obeying and getting in line, looking at our children, why the anger that they started to display, irritability, talking about, I don't know, like punish mode. And then she mentioned something interesting about there's a difference between teaching your children about punishment and discipline, and the difference between how there's the negativity involved in that, depending on how it's done. And then of course, again, she goes down here further about they were taught to be second and to be followers, which I found that to be interesting. Because I had never gone to Catholic school or anything like that, so I had no idea about how it how. And now, of course, this was her experience. This is not every all experiences, of course. But and then here talking about here that how religion is oppressive in her opinion, and that she was taught to be judgmental, about people. So I found a lot of that, like, wow, like, a lot of stuff, a lot of points there. And, I guess we just kind of gloss over it a little bit. First of all, for one thing, I think you and, Eric and most people would agree, religion has many good things about it, but it's almost to what extent is it repressive? If it starts to like repress your spirit, then to what extent is it time for you to maybe move on, so that's kind of like one of the I guess the angles I'm kind of coming up on it, because you and I were both, well, once again, you not as much as but I was raised much more strict religiously, and I definitely can understand a lot of what she's saying. I can definitely relate, because it seemed, for me, that was a lot in my, as I was developing, I felt in the same way, even though I was trying to do quote unquote the right thing, that, well, a lot of other people were able to explore and do what they wanted to. No, I had to stick, by the rules. And I thought, it was for my protection, or it was for, doing the right thing because that's what God wanted. But it starts to bring you into this like kind of question in your mind of, and this is something that I thought about a lot as I started to get older and started to, delve into other things, was if your spirit, if your soul, if your inner whatever that is feels like you're being repressed and you're not allowed to do this and you're not allowed to do that and you're not allowed to do that, then why have a spirit that wants to do all these things? Why even have it? Like, why would God or your creator or whatever it is give you all these abilities to want to express yourself and figure out things and find out things for yourself? But there's so many things. You can't do this, you can't do that, you can't do that, you can't do that. It almost feels like it's contradictory. You know what I'm saying? Now, once again,
or like a tease. You can look, but you can't touch.
Yeah, right, exactly. So and once again, I think that there's a lot of good, parables in the Bible. Certainly, it's something that there's a lot of scripture that should be read and different things to get an understanding of history. There's different teachings of wisdom in there, but just coming back around, I understand where she's coming from, and I think the way she kind of ended it off, which she did. She ended off the comment, which was that she kind of has decided now to not be as much religious, if I read it correctly, but just more taking what she learned from what she learned, and now she's moving forward and not having the church be her authority anymore. And I think that's personally, I think that's a good way to be in life in general. Like, I think it's good to take the good of what you can learn from any teaching, any establishment, any organization, whatever it is. But I'm really a strong believer in that you have to decide for yourself what seems to be right. And I don't think now there are people out there that really maybe are not as conclusive about things, and they want someone to kind of like lead them, and that's your prerogative. You know what I mean? Like, if you don't feel comfortable in making your own decisions or whatever that is, or certain things, certain aspects of your life, and you want someone to tell you this is how you should do it, then then by all means, I go ahead. Hopefully you just find someone that won't take advantage of you and won't control you and things like that. An organization, a person, an entity, whatever that is. But so that was her comment. I thought it was pretty interesting.
I think a lot of times when you look at, especially religion or spirituality, like really, like sometimes they're looked at as the same thing, but it's not really. Like it's like religion's a part of spirituality, but it isn't all spirituality. Right. It's everything spirit, And I think that's why, like, again, balance is everything. Too much spirituality could be an issue. Too much religion could be an issue. And if you can, like you said, if you don't feel comfortable with something, and it's always on your mind or something, well then I think that is one of your senses telling you intuitively there's something here that we're having either a disagreement in some way, maybe our ego with what's going on, what our soul's telling us, and maybe it's causing some type of complication which you're sensing, Right. And that's why I kind of like it. Kind of choosing rather a religion or this religion or if any religion is good for you. A lot of it is just letting really going by what your soul or what your what your heart's telling you. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I think that's part of the difference when we talk about like 3D and 5D. You know what I mean? A lot of things we kind of know intuitively, because I mean we're humans. Humans are naturally psychic or intuitive to a degree anyway. It's the human body, you know. And the more like conscious we are as we evolve and move forward to like 5D consciousness, you know what I mean? Which is, you know, would naturally you'd be more open minded and be more open to opening up, wholeheartedly, and to with more unconditional love, and not really not being so judgmental with things anymore, and just be more again open minded. And so, like, rather religion sometimes there's a lot of principles and things you can learn from it, but like it doesn't mean it has to be your whole life. You know what I mean? It could be like a tool. You know what I mean? An instrument that you go to and use. But it doesn't have to. Like a lot of times when something gets too extreme or something, and like you said, her comments, or like even her kids, they just didn't seem like they were they didn't feel like they were joyful anymore, or you know what I mean, and
right.
And it kind of lost that glow. If you really see that from it, if it's from like being in a religion or something, well then one would have to ask, like, well why would we feel that way? Maybe it's too extreme, or in a sense, you know what I mean. But
Absolutely.
Then again, there's also looking at it being practical and logical, and some things is like, I know we don't like rules and regulations in a sense, but there are some things it's more about knowing how to navigate. And I think sometimes you can use, if the Bible is the tool you want to use, I think it's a tool that you can use to help navigate through life.
Sure.
And some things you got to know, like look both ways before you cross the street. Well, I mean, that's something that we can all learn.
Right.
But it doesn't have to be so complex where, to never cross the street to begin with. No, just look both ways and then go. You can walk across the street. It's nothing to fear,
Right.
And always feel like, so you don't want to you don't want to open your mind and expand to new horizons, and so you can look at it something like that.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, I think it's still a lot of it, again, kind of like what the basic tone that I was getting from her in this is that it's about restriction. And, as we said, restriction is good in some ways, and then it's not. And then there's a certain point where you yourself have to kind of start to evaluate, for yourself or for your children or whatnot, where something is no longer as helpful as you want it to be. Maybe there were some good things in the beginning of it, and then you find out, what? Now they've had enough of this. Now it's time to move on to something else. And
like you said before, like in life, you can learn, a little bit of this, a little bit of that.
yeah,
it doesn't have to be one thing,
Yeah.
and that's it.
Yeah.
Like again, everything has its good points, and that's what you take from it.
Right.
And just like knowledge, with knowledge, like. Doesn't mean you have to take what everybody says or believe what everybody says.
Right.
That would just be naive if just to just go on what anyone says.
Right.
But take what you resonate with, and stay open to other information. And the more you resonate with, you'll see the more you'll evolve as a person, because it's information that you resonate with and that is true. Or it's your truth, and that's it. It's all about truth.
Well, and there you have it. So so I appreciate her comment. Really, she had a lot to say, and that was really really deep. All right, so I guess with that we'll move on to her next. Let me see. The next comment was from let's see, we went through there. It was Justin Eisenhower.
Thanks for watching this segment of the full episode to be posted Saturday at noon. Much more to be discussed in the next part, so give this video a like, leave your comments for us to reply to in future episodes, and stay notified by hitting the subscribe button.